Bitwig, with the modulators, synths and music making features, it's an amazing DAW, but many people say that for mixing it falls behind, to which I answer, really? This DAW has a lot of great features for mixing, so today I figured I'll share with you some quick tips on how to get the best mixing workflow on this amazing DAW. So let's go! Most people that I know will use Bitwig on this screen. It's easy to arrange songs, and also you have the scenes where you can loop different sounds and MIDI right here. Now for mixing, you just select a track and then you can insert effects right here at the bottom. But if you don't like to work on this view, you just have to press tab and you will go to the mix view. This screen can be more familiar for mixing sessions. Here you can press these icons on the right to show or hide different things to make your life easier. For example, as I'm mixing, I don't need these scenes and clip launchers, so I can hide them. Then I will click on show the peak meters that will show you your level and also the peaking value of each track. And then you can press this other icon that will show the inserts. Then you have the sends, the routing of the audio, you can show or hide the deactivated tracks, and so on. Bitwig doesn't have buses, so if you want to make a bus, you will have to insert an audio track and then change the routing right here. But you will have to do that for every track that you want to send into a bus. And what about parallel processing? For that, you will have to make, well, another audio track and add an audio receiver, select the track that you want to send to it, and after that, if you want to send more than one track, you will need to make a group to add another audio receiver and so on. And that's a bit of a pain. That's why you need to forget about making buses to route different sounds to one track and start using folders. I will get into parallel processing in a minute. Folders are really amazing. You just select the tracks you want and then press Ctrl or Command and G. Then every track selected will be inside a folder, which also acts like a bus. You can see that these 3 tracks are now routed to this group 18. And then the group 18 goes directly to the master. You can rename it as you want. And what's even better, you can make folders inside the folders. You can collapse the folders, so you hide what's inside of the folder, but you still see the bus and it is still making sound. This is a really good way to keep a session organized. For example, let's close all the folders in this session and you will see how much better to the eye it is. Now it's almost like working with stems. Then I can open the one where are the tracks that I want to work with specifically, or as these are buses, I can put an insert and process, for example here, all the bases as one.
She was out like a prom dress, no regrets, doing things I never guessed. Seems like an angel from the father, but now she's Satan's daughter. Sin in heaven, oh one, I believe.
I know that other DAWs also adopted the folder workflow, and for me it's better than buzzing, but tell me in the comments what do you prefer. So, as I said, making a buzz or routing a track to another track can be slow, but what if you want to make parallel processing? The thing that you need is simply making an effects layer, and it will look something like this, but let's make it from the start. These are the dry drums. Now I want to make parallel compression on the whole drums. So I go here on the plus button and in containers I go to the effects layer. Now the layer 1 we can rename it and call it dry, and then with this plus button inside the effects layer we choose the compressor that we want to use for the parallel processing. So then you work as you would do with any other parallel processing, but inside the same track. So again, for me this is better because now I don't have to worry to bus the main signal and the parallel signal to another bus if I want to process them together. So let's set up this parallel compressor.
Doesn't take as long as I thought it would. She was out.
Now, if you want, you can also make the effects layer by choosing any effect and then pressing Ctrl or Command G. The effects layer is going to be made automatically, and then you can add the dry signal just by putting the plus button and hitting OK. And the best thing is that you can add as many layers as you want. For example, parallel distortion to these drums, but only to the dry signal and not to this compressed signal. Let's add back the dry signal, and now let's add a distortion. So now we have two parallel signals that are independent from each other.
And it doesn't feel at all wrong. Slide a little closer. It doesn't take as long as I thought it.
Finally, you can even set up an effects layer with two empty layers, having one with the gain all the way down. You can call one dry and the other wet or parallel. And then you can save this preset as an empty parallel processing device. By the way, making these tutorials take a lot of time, so if you're liking this one so far, please consider subscribing to the channel and give the video a like. To invert the phase, you just need to use the tool device. Then you just press this L- and R-, and there the phase is inverted, because this one is going to invert the left side and this one is going to invert the right side. So if you want to check the phase, you just have to turn this on and off. In Bitwig, sidechaining is so easy, you don't even need to touch any track for routing. Every plugin or device with sidechaining features will have this icon right here, and that's also true for third-party plugins. So, you press this icon and you just select the sidechain input. I have this example right here with a really boomy kick and a really simple bass. So if I want to get the sidechaining effect, I just put the compressor on the bass and choose the input from the kick. As you can see, you can choose the kick before the effects or after the fader. So now you will see that here in the visualizer, we will see also the kick. Then you can just start compressing and you will have the effect. This is pretty useful and it's really easy and fast to set up. You need to know that Bitwig has an amazing collection of container devices. These containers are really useful for many different purposes, but I'm going to dedicate a whole video to talk about them. I will go right now quickly to the ones that I find the most useful for mixing. For example, the stereo split. Then you just put a compressor in each side, and each compressor is going to be activated only by the left or the right, giving you a stereo compressor effect. And that's basically how you do the undershape technique.
But none like tonight, and she blew my mind. She took me high, brought tears to my eyes, hit me begging for mercy, and more in no time. I only wish that I would have been more prepared.
You also have a multi-band container, which lets you put effects on each of the bands. A mid-side split, that's really useful because you can do mid-side EQ, mid-side compression, mid-side anything you want. You even have a replacer that's pretty useful for drums. And finally, the newest transient split. I have a video right here where I explain why transient splitting is really good for mixing. So those are my advices if you want to start mixing on Bitwig. As you can see, it has its own type of workflow, but you can adapt it and get excellent results. Now, if you want to still use another DAW for mixing, that's okay, do whatever you want, but this video is basically to tell you that Bitwig is also good for mixing purposes. If you enjoyed this video, subscribe to the channel and give it a like, and also consider becoming a patron so you can support my content. I will see you next time, bye bye!